Hello everyone. Here's another vlog from me today because I want to call out the Pro Football Hall of Fame and all their 48 selectors for a moment. With everything going on in our country, we need to understand how often minorities, whether they be black, Latino, or Asian, or Native Americans, have been subjugated to immense racism and scrutiny and oppression. Because of this, a lot of them, especially in the past, were not able to get the same opportunities as Caucasians or white Americans. So when you see a story of when a minority figure defies the odds, goes against the norms of society, and becomes a role model and an influential figure for all of people, a figure, a monumental touchstone in the history of their race, of their nationality, of their skin tone. And that person, for me, for the NFL, is none other than Shelby Blues legend Charles Follis. Now, who is Charles Follis, you may ask? Well, Charles Follis is a legend, also known as the Black Cyclone. He is a legend in the state of Ohio for football. He was born in Virginia but grew in Ohio for most of his life. And when he was in high school and college, despite being African American, he was the captain of his football team, and he was the best player on his football team. And the Shelby Blues took notice of this, and that's it is professional football history, and it should be treated as such. He played for 4 years, and he even was his teammate was Branch Rickey, who, in case you guys don't know, Branch Rickey was the GM executive of the St. Louis Cardinals and the Brooklyn Dodgers. The same Brooklyn Dodgers who, under his leadership, he signed Jackie Robinson. And because he was close with Charles Follis, many have argued, and it's most likely correct, that if it was not for Charles Follis, Jackie Robinson would have not been signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers. So you're not just seeing a historical figure in football history, but also he managed to look at all these norms and bust through them. He didn't care. That didn't matter to him. Unfortunately, he passed in 1910, but his legacy remains on. The state of Ohio on February 3rd is Charles Follis Day. Ohio is also where Canton is, by the way. Keep that in mind. He is, I think, there's a field named after him in Virginia. I think also one in Ohio. And Vito Stellino, who is one of the Hall of Fame voters, says he is very deserving because of his impact on history. Now, there are some people, such as Jim Trotter and others, that do care a lot about the history of minorities, with Bill Nunn and Tom Flores. Fair enough. I agree. They are definitely very deserving. But neither of them are as deserving as the first ever African American to ever play the game. This guy predated everyone. If there was no Charles Follis, there would be no Duke Slater. There would be no Fritz Pollard. There would be no there would be no Emlyn Tunnel. There would be no Night Train Lane. All the dozens and dozens of good, great African American football players, even bad ones. Every African American football player, none of them would have ever been able to play if Charles Follis did not give them that opportunity. He was the one that predated them all. And I think for all of the 48 voters, if you truly care about the history of the game, if you truly care about the impact that someone has on an entire nationality, especially, or an entire race, especially in this day and age where this stuff is important, do not make a wing for them. Do not make a section for them. Give people what they truly want: a bust, a ring, and a gold jacket. That is what people care for. They're not going to ask for the next wing of a museum. They're not going to look at an exhibit. They want the bust. They want the full-fledged honor. People aren't going to go for that. That's the main attraction. You give someone like that the main attraction because that's what they deserve. And as much as I want to love Edilwig or a William Heffelfinger, even though he's the first ever player and he does deserve it. And Chuck Howley and Tom Flores, who I will touch on later. It's not like Confederate statues. It's not like the Confederate statues, for instance, where everyone knows about their history. Not many people know about Charles Follis. My sports journalism professor, he's been in the industry for 50 years, and he never heard about Charles Follis' existence until I told him about it a couple months ago. This is someone that everyone should know about. This is someone that people should tell their children about. This is someone who was a civil rights milestone. Everyone in Ohio is looking for you. Everyone in Ohio